Hey, what's going on? We're back here at the Mall of America live on Radio Row alongside Jason Robins, CEO of DraftKings. Adam Kaufman here with you. You know that. You've been watching this thing all week long. This is a scene here, isn't it? This is pretty incredible.
It's unbelievable. I'm looking at an amusement park. You got me excited. I'm going to have to check out the roller coasters.
You need to go on the SpongeBob coaster. For anyone who's not been to the Mall of America, go on the SpongeBob coaster. It'll scare the living daylights out of you, but it's great. So obviously this is DraftKings' first opportunity here at a Super Bowl to be on Radio Row and to be hobnobbing with all these athletes and celebrities, and we've had so many great guests over the course of the first few days of this week. But have you ever been across a scene like this? Have you experienced the Radio Row before?
I've seen this at other Super Bowls, but this is probably the craziest one I've seen. This is, I mean, it's in the middle of a huge mall, first of all.
In the middle of a food court.
In the middle of a food court. And not only is it in the middle of a mall, but there's a theme park as part of that mall right next to it, and next to the food court. And it just seems like everybody's mashed together. So it's,
we're sardines in here.
It's totally, it's like everybody's smashed together like sardines. So it's a little crazy, but it's the Super Bowl, so expect it to be crazy.
Have you been to the Mall of America before? Or is this the first time?
I've never been to the Mall of America before. I've been to Minneapolis, but I have not been here before, and I'm pretty amazed. This is quite the place.
So we've been obviously so busy, we haven't really walked the place yet. People say, I don't know this to be true, but people say that it would take multiple hours to walk the entire mall without actually doing any shopping.
Really?
Just walk the whole mall and see everything.
Wow.
Multiple hours, it's that big.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me in one way because it looks massive, but
it is
that's
the Mall
still
of America. But
it is the Mall of America, isn't it? I think it's the biggest mall in the country, right?
Last I checked, it was. I don't know if something has
Somebody's
popped up
built
somewhere, but
yeah,
as of like 10 years ago, it definitely was.
So, I mean, it's huge. I can't believe that there's any mall in the world that takes hours to walk.
Yeah.
So, like, that alone is pretty surprising. But if it was going to be any mall, it's this one.
I think
massive.
there are 5.5 lid stores. I don't even know what a half a lid store means.
Really?
Maybe that's
There's
a
half
kiosk.
store. Yeah, it must be a kiosk.
Yeah, but that's... Yeah,
Why do they need 5.5 lid stores?
I guess most people don't walk the entire mall, right? You got to cover every corner.
I guess so.
So you're here in part for this, but also, of course, for the Super Bowl, Patriots and Eagles. I'm going to assume, other than joining us here on Radio Row, you wouldn't come out all this way to not go to the game, right? You've got your ticket. That's figured out.
I will be at the game. I'm pretty excited. We're a Boston company.
Yeah.
I'm a Patriots fan,
Yeah.
so looking forward to a great game and hopefully another Patriots victory.
Do you have a prediction? Do you want to sit on it for a minute?
I'm a bias, so it's hard for me to. Obviously, I think the Patriots are going to win, but
Sure.
I can't tell how much of that is true objective analysis versus
Head
like
versus heart.
Homer.
Just
Yeah,
willing.
exactly. So hard to tell, but I'm going to go with the Patriots.
So many people wonder, and we've talked about it so much this week with a variety of people, just about this run that the Patriots are on, obviously. I mean, this is, for Tom Brady, if you take out 2008 when he was injured the entire year, 16 healthy years quarterbacking this team, 8 appearances in the Super Bowl. 50% of his career, the guy is going to the Super Bowl. Can you think of anything comparable
Outrageous.
to that?
It's insane. It is unbelievably insane. I think this was their 7th straight AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. I think the next closest is like 4 or something, I want to say. I mean,
right.
it's just records being shattered. And in an era that's with the salary cap and parity in the NFL, it's as hard as it's ever been in any sports league anywhere to sustain this level of success for this long. It's remarkable. I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again. Obviously, I know we're fortunate to be Patriots fans, but many out there love rooting against them. But I think anyone who's a sports fan can appreciate that they're witnessing something that they probably will never see again. And certainly it's hard to imagine this level of winning again in the NFL. I don't know if baseball doesn't have a salary cap. It's possible, I guess, to see a run like that. But it's hard to imagine even that. Yeah, I just don't see this ever happening in any sport again in our lifetime.
I mean, people like to look at, say, the Spurs under Popovich, how they've transitioned from Robinson to Duncan to Kawhi and Aldridge now. Obviously not those. Well, Aldridge hasn't won anything there yet, but that having 2 decades of sustained excellence. But even their
the Spurs
success,
are a good example, though.
They are, but even that success has fallen short of what the Patriots have accomplished in that run. It's just it is unbelievable. In fact, you spent some time on Twitter, and I'm sure you've seen some of these memes that have floated around. The fact that Tom Brady has made it to, in those 16 years, a dozen AFC title games. 75% of the time, he goes to the Final Four in the NFL. And so, like, one example that was floating around was that I think LeBron James, if I'm not making this one up, LeBron James has a career 73% success rate at the free throw line. Like, Tom Brady has a better chance
rate
of getting
AFC
to the
championship
AFC
games
game
is
than
higher
Tom
than
Brady.
LeBron shooting free throws.
Yeah, it's just stats like that. They're mind blowing.
Yeah,
or
it's mind blowing.
It really is. And you're talking about arguably maybe the best ever, certainly one of the best ever in another sport, in LeBron James. Mm-hmm. So it is wild. It's absolutely wild. I'm sure you've paid attention, obviously, to the Pat Mayo experience and some of the sidebars we've done, a lot of the different coverage we've had this week. I appreciate that. Whether it was opening night or here at this table, do you have any favorite guests that you've seen so far?
I haven't gotten to watch today yet, and I heard you guys had a lot of good ones today.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon today, Travis Kelce. You can check out the stream earlier.
I heard. I think Mayo interviewed him. Right.
Mm-hmm. We got him off on the side talking. He was very sad about losing Alex Smith in Kansas City. He felt badly about that.
I'm sure they were good friends.
Not being able to get him a ring.
It's hard, when you're playing with teammates. I'm sure, and you get close, and then you see him traded, but. I think it's part of the business, and they all get that. But it's good to see the human side sometimes, and I think that was nice. And I'm looking forward to watching. I've been running around all morning, so I haven't gotten to watch. But I'm gonna figure out a time to watch all the stuff you guys did today. I heard you had some really good stuff in there.
Yeah, and what I really like about this setting, and you've seen enough of it to know, is that they're just loose. These guys are loose. They're relaxed. They, in many cases, are being paid handsomely to make the rounds on Radio Row. So Case Keenum we had on earlier, and I was talking to him off to the side after he was on here with Pat, and I said, this just has to suck for you. Like you especially.
You were the guy who asked.
I was the guy. Well, because like let's be human about it, right?
Yeah,
like
that was great. I'm glad you were the guy. We need those types of questions.
You want to be playing in this game. Anyone wants to be playing in this game. But when you think you're going to, when you are so confident that, you get to the NFC title game, you got to win one more, you could be the first team to ever host a Super Bowl, and then it's ripped from you. It's got to be tough. And then he's a free agent too, so he doesn't even know if he'll be back here. So some guys are definitely happier than others to maybe be floating around here.
I'll have to watch. I'm interested to see what he said to that question.
No, he was great. He said, it's nice to be wanted in terms of free agency, and there being teams that are out there that certainly will be offering him very lucrative paydays.
Yeah,
and
he had a great year.
Yeah, well,
I think he
exceeded
significantly exceeded everyone's expectations this year.
So one thing that I know people playing DraftKings are excited about is obviously the Showdown contest, and that was introduced in the playoffs. We on Matchups Breakdown have had our fun with it with our internal contest, the four of us guys, and going head to head and all of that. But another thing with the guest that has given us a cool opportunity out here is talking to a lot of defensive players about the Showdown contest. And all these guys, they lie to us. They say, like, oh, we don't really pay attention to fantasy.
Yeah.
Sure you don't. Like, maybe you're not allowed to play, but you certainly pay attention because you're the guys that bitch and moan anytime somebody comes after you and says, you let us down. Thanks a lot. You lost by a week. Well, these guys defensively are actually pretty. Aaron Donald is arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. I chatted with him. I said, do you have a message for players that are going to be drafting you next year when you can do the Showdown all the time? He was amped up. He likes having a value. Forget all these skill guys.
If I'm a defensive player, this is the greatest thing. Everybody knows that backup running backs are people who are, it doesn't even matter if they're in your hometown or anything. You know their names, and probably I would venture to guess that there are less people that know who Aaron Donald is that play fantasy than know the backup running back.
Paul Richardson.
Yeah, exactly.
Some random
receiver. And it's crazy. And this is going to change that, I think, because obviously people have to pay attention now. They're going to get more recognition, good and bad, probably. And some will have fun with that and enjoy it. Some maybe won't love it. But I think overall it's great if you're a defensive player. It makes, that's what's great about fantasy in general for players.
Sure.
Is it puts so much focus on them and their individual stats and what they're doing. And, that creates not just opportunities on the football field, but opportunities elsewhere because people know who they are. And I think that, defensive players kind of drew the short end of that stick for many years, and hopefully Showdown will start to change that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and even Donald, he was looking right into the camera. He said, I'm going to get to the quarterback. I'm going to force fumbles. I'm going to get you tackles. He's
amped up.
Rack up the points, man.
Yeah, he probably will.
Well, and as a Patriots fan, you'll love this too, because I was talking to Sean Merriman, who's now retired at this point, but a former linebacker, and I said,
great one.
So let's talk Showdown for the Super Bowl, because you can play the Showdown in the Super Bowl and have that contest. Give me the 2 defensive players you would put on your team from this game. The guy says, Fletcher Cox, Chris Long. I said, no Patriots? He goes, I said, you hate the Patriots. He said, I do. They sent me home too many times. Way too many times. Who would you take, do you think? If you were, I know you can't set a full Showdown lineup, but if you were to isolate a couple of defensive guys.
I do like Chris Long in this game. I think the Patriots are going to be on offense a lot, which will give a lot of time for stats to be racked up for the defensive players. I don't think there are going to be many turnovers in this game because I think Philly is going to have a game plan to protect the ball and be careful. So I think it's really going to be about the tackles. And so I actually think their linebackers and corners are on the Eagles. Maybe safeties are a good place to look as well, because I think there's going to be a lot of tackles made in the secondary and around the middle of the field. And, we'll see if they can get pressure, and that's maybe why I like some of the defensive linemen too. On Brady, that could be a difference maker in the game. So you got to think that that's their game play, and they're going to come in and they're going to try to get pressure, and they're going to send the house if they can't get it with 4. So I know that was the reason Merriman said, but actually I think that, from a defensive standpoint, I think the Eagles players could end up with more stats, but I think the offensive players for the Patriots are the way to go. I think Amendola, he always seems to step up in the playoffs.
Danny Playoff
Amendola. Obviously, I think Brady's going to have a good game for them to win. So, we'll see. Like I said, I really think it comes down to can they get pressure on him or not, and that's always been the Patriots' kryptonite. If they can get pressure on him with 4, then he's going to have a tough time throwing the ball. But I think if they have to send the house, then he'll adjust and he'll pick apart, one-on-one coverage and linebackers on Gronk and stuff like that. It should be a good game. I actually don't think there's going to be a ton of scoring in the game. So
no, I think it'll be low as well. Yeah. I think low 20s, high teens.
The over-under, what is it, like mid to high 40s, I think, which I thought was a little high. Yeah, like somewhere like around 47 or so, but which I thought was high. So what do I know? But
all right. Well, one thing I know is that you got to run. I'm getting the rapid signal, but you got advice on the Showdown from the boss, and he's rooting for the Patriots, which is just another reason that I like him. Jason Robins, CEO for DraftKings.